Good night, viewers, and welcome to this another program of Advancing the Cause. This program comes to you every Wednesday night from 18:30 hours to 20 hours. The official host of this program is the Honorable Coretta McDonald, AA MP and President of the Guyana Teachers Union. Ms. McDonald is unavoidably absent tonight because of duties of national interest, and therefore I want to tender an apology for her absence. My name is Dennis Jaikran, and I would be hosting the program tonight. Our topic tonight would be never give up. And may I repeat the topic for tonight? Never give up. And so before I get into the order of the program tonight, I just want to advise and to inform viewers that the content they're in this program would have been as a result of receiving information from agencies, ministries, and persons across this country as it relates to matters of interest to them. And therefore, this program is happy to be able to express their views in such a way that if by chance there is need for action to be taken, then this program would be proud of whatever action would be taken in a very positive way to help persons. And so the order of the program tonight would be, we are going to deal with some education matters. We are going to deal with some general issues. And then we are going to deal with health issues. Normally, we would deal with matters of education, health, then general issues. But it is the other way around tonight. We deal with education matters, general issues, and then health issues. And so this program, we want to deal with education issues now. This program has been bringing to the attention of viewers a very sickening situation in Region 2. And teachers and parents would have reached out to this program to ask that the program so emphasize again this very serious situation that is taking place at the Anna Regina Car Park and the Charity Market. From all indications, and as indicated to this program, it is alleged that there is a certain gentleman who plies his trade at both the Anna Regina Car Park and the Charity Market and is engaging in dispensing through photographs, pictures, videos, nude and sensational issues to our secondary school students who are at any time at the Charity Market and the Anna Regina Car Park. This program is again bringing this serious issue to the attention of those in authority. But you know, in each region, based on the establishment of the staffing at the Department of Education, there are a number of schools welfare officers. And from information, these welfare officers in Region 2 are quite aware of what is happening at both at the Anna Regina Car Park and the Charity Market. But it would, and this program can only conclude, and to suggest that these schools' welfare officers are turning a blind eye on the situation at the Charity Market and the Anna Regina Car Park. This situation is bringing a level of undesirable behavior among our learners, not only in the school system, but at their various homes and communities. But let this program ask the question, what is the duty and function of these schools' welfare officers? Can this program further conclude that these officers are more engaged and involved in contracts? Or are they concerned about catering while on their duty, being paid by taxpayers of this country? These things can only happen when you have a regional education officer who would have been politically appointed and not been able to manage the education system in this region. This program is calling on these schools' welfare officer, the regional education officer of Region 2, to take this matter as alleged seriously and do their own investigations. You see, among our schools across this country, and in very many of these schools, the level of indiscipline is growing. The level of undesirable behavior is growing among our learners. And every day you can see on social media or elsewhere, as it is brought to this program time and again, the level of indiscipline, the injuries, and what have you, meted out to learners based on their own interaction of undesirable behavior. How much can our head teachers and teachers do to curb this situation? But what is it across this country the schools' welfare officers are being paid to do? Receiving taxpayers' money. And in the case of Region 2, there are allegations that these school welfare officers are more involved in contracts and in catering and is more out of the official setting that they are being paid for and more into the contract and more into the catering. But as this program would have been informed, that in Region 2, that the school's welfare officers, none of whom would have been teachers. But let me advise this, let this program advise our viewers. Schools' welfare officers, first of all, had to be classroom teachers. And for them to have received the training to become schools' welfare officers, the status or their appointment at any school, the least should have been the appointment of them as senior master mistresses. Let any of the school's welfare officers in Region 2 tell the public which schools they taught. And early on, this program indicated to you that they were never classroom teachers, so they could not have reached that appointment stage of a senior master or mistress. And this is a point in which the system is failing. And it might not only be in Region 2, it might be across all regions of this country. This is a failed school welfare system in this country. And that is why indiscipline is growing among our learners. How much can our parents do? How much can our teachers do? And so this program again is calling for the actions to be taken by the Chief Education Officer and the officers that are responsible for the welfare system in the education delivery of this country. And so we want to move this program, we would want to move to another point. You know, the Ministry of Education some time ago, in the regions, thought it fit to appoint what is called mathematics monitors. And in some cases, retired persons, maybe head teachers, to just a simple thing, to go into schools and look at the records. Now, if this is not duplication of duties, and maybe it is triplicate to it, because let us deal first of all with the person, and in Region 2, a retired head teacher. What this person does is to go into these schools on Fridays, so to speak, and only look at records that the head teacher is keeping. So this program is asking the question, what are the duties and functions of the regional education officer and the district education officer for primary and secondary schools? And then I said it is triplicate. So the other point is that you have the person that has been appointed by the school board secretariat to monitor, well, to look over rather, the administrative record, You have the Department of Education. Then you have the measurement and whatever unit you call it. Long ago, you call it the inspectorate unit. So if three sets of persons are looking at records and documents to be kept by the head teacher, or the head teachers rather, then are we not wasting taxpayers' money in this case? This program is concerned about that. Because if you are not a successful head teacher, how is it you are now placed there? The second point this program would wish to make is that the mathematics monitors in Region 2, the results for CSEC mathematics in Region 2, the matriculation rate is miserable. So that intervention is a failed intervention. The next point that this program would wish to make is that one of those monitors would have been a head teacher, maybe appointed or acting, and the results of that school that this person taught mathematics, the grades of CSEC mathematics was also, or the grades were miserable. This is the person that is monitoring mathematics in Region 2. And here is one. The other person that is monitoring the mathematics program in Region 2 was never ever a classroom teacher, whether at nursery school, primary school, or secondary school. Let me repeat. The other person that is being appointed and paid by taxpayers of this country as a mathematics monitor in Region 2 would have never been a classroom teacher, whether at nursery, primary, or secondary school in this region or any part of this country. Where are we going with the education system? These are questions that the Chief Education Officer should answer. These are questions that the Regional Education Officer in Region 2 that was pitchforked into that position and cannot function should answer. This program would continue to highlight all of these inefficiencies and waste of taxpayers' money as it relates to the delivery of education in this country. Waste of taxpayers' money. And so, Teachers' Day activity, another point. You know, on Sunday, the 5th of October, teachers across this country celebrated Teachers' Day. And this program would wish to sincerely commend, congratulate all of our loyal and faithful teachers who would have made genuine and special efforts to participate in events and activities to mark International Teachers' Day. In Region 2, teachers were able to, and again I refer to the loyal and sincere teachers of the system, that the Guyana Teachers Union, through the regional vice president, Esquibo, organized a walkathon in an effort to mark and celebrate International Teachers Day. Those teachers who participated must be commended. But you know, the Guyana Teachers Union believe in partnership, believe in communicating with major stakeholders. And so a team visited the office of the Regional Education Officer, Region 2, in an effort to discuss a number of issues in relation to the walkathon. And a number of requests would have been made of the Regional Education Officer. One would have been to so permit, and despite the fact the activity would have been held on a Sunday, but because of the respect the Guyana Teachers Union would have for, and always have for, the major stakeholders therein, sought permission, despite the fact it was a Sunday, for our teachers to participate. That request was made in writing to the Regional Education Officer, Region 2. The second request that would have been made was to allow and provide transportation for that day and for the day after the discussion would be held, so that the team members could have visited the schools based on the permission of the Regional Education Officer to discuss issues and the logistics therein for International Teachers Day and the walkathon, so to speak, in Region 2. And the third request that was made, among other requests, but these are the major ones, and the third request that would have been made was to provide for the Regional Education Department, and I want our viewers to brace their backs to this one, for the Regional Education Department, Region 2, to provide snacks for our participating teachers on that walkathon. Mind you, a number, a figure as to the snacks to be provided would have been supplied and given in writing to the Regional Education Officer. When you go for discussion and negotiations, you know exactly, based on what is happening before you, the level of insincerity, the level of dishonesty with that person you are negotiating with. And the team saw that in the Regional Education Officer, Region 2. The team had before it a printout of what you call the cash flow. The team knew very well under which line item or the line items as pointed out to the Regional Education Officer, where these fundings could have come from. And in one case, the Regional Education Officer said to the team that this can come under training. And the Regional Education Officer, very insincere, and I want our teachers to know this, because the regional education officer is supposed to be the person that is responsible, the person supposed to be responsible for teachers. But mind you, when our teachers would have been on protest, that regional education officer, when our teachers was under a public building, state payers, taxpayers building, she called the police to remove our teachers. I am making this point so that our teachers, not only in Region 2, but across this country would know in some cases how you are treated by the regional education officers, in Region 2 especially. And so at the last moment, there was this no, nothing cannot happen. You are a program manager. The REDO is a program manager. And if the REDO of any region does not understand the budget that is before him or her, or understand cash flow and balances, then that REDO is wasting time. Like the REDO in Region 2. Very unprofessional behavior. At the last moment, told our teachers, the organizers, that no refreshment can be made available. No transportation can be made available. If you had that information, why were you so insincere? And you didn't say it at the time? Because you knew that you were not going to do that. But teachers of Region 2, this program is bringing it to your attention. It is bringing it to your attention. And so, this program is reporting on behalf of the organizers, the Guyana Teachers Union, that it was a resounding success. And for that, the organizers would have asked this program to convey to the teachers who were very sincere and loyal, to say how grateful the organizers would have been. These are things that this program is going to continue to highlight. We are going to continue to highlight these things on the program, because in a number of cases, teachers are made to suffer because of this situation. Another point I want to read, this program rather, would like to raise, is this flow of secondment of teachers and head teachers, not so much yes, in some cases head teachers, and teachers to the Department of Education. You know, let me say this Letters program, let me say it, I'm saying it. Once upon a time, I used to be a regional education officer. And I had with me 2 education officers. One of them, because he was very sly in his dealing and could have oiled the lamp in different ways and in different forms, rise to a high position in the ministry. He was one of them. But I was also regional education officer and district education officer, secondary schools. And this region had one vehicle. It was a canter. And at that time, the Department of Education operated with that level of staffing and resources therein at maximum. The records are there. Some of the head teachers are still alive that can speak to the issue. Some of the teachers who were there and are now head teachers, heads of departments, senior master mistresses, can attest to what I'm saying. But I don't want to bring that to bear so much on this program. I want to make the point that they are secondment indiscriminately. And the persons have not gone through in any way or in any form a test to verify and certify not only their level of qualification, but their competence to perform the duties as they were seconded to the Department of Education. These recommendations, and this is not bashing the REDO. The REDO is a waste of time in this region. Those recommendations, and I guess by now, as the head teachers would have been saying, that the Department of Education is staffed more than the biggest school in this region. Can you imagine that? And the REDO continues to make recommendation to have persons seconded to the Department of Education. This is a quality of leaders we have in the education system. This program brings you the facts, hard facts. And this program tells you where the inefficiencies of the education system, where the non-performance of those who are paid by taxpayers are not there. And so some of these people are underqualified, inexperienced, but yet because they can do the bidding for you, or because they are related to persons maybe of influence. We don't know. This program doesn't know that, but can only assume that those secondments take place. And this program is concerned, and the concern as expressed by this program can only be expressed having had submissions from our head teachers, our parents, and the concerned citizens of the different regions, in this case, Region 2. Early on, we made the case of violence in school, because it is an everyday something across schools in this country. And then early on, this program made mention of, or asked the question, how much can our head teachers do? How much can our parents and our teachers do? But why is it in the structure of the Ministry of Education? And I'm coming back to the point because I want, this program wants to emphasize the point. Why is it you have appointed the system schools welfare officers? Is it that you would have appointed, the system would have appointed them to be contractors and caterers, to spend 95% doing contracts of their time that they are paid for by taxpayers, 95% of their time out of school, out of office rather, doing catering, and cannot provide a program for our teachers and our head teachers and to allow our learners to be comforted by the things they ought to know. And this program said early on, and it is going to repeat, that these welfare officers are not prepared for the work. And I made mention early on about who are the persons to, maybe they have moved away from that norm and that level of qualification of being a senior master mistress could be appointed, trained and appointed a school's welfare officer. And so this program is concerned about the violence in school and the attention that is not being given by the school's education or the departments of education rather. We turn to our attention on this program to distribution of school supplies. Schools for the academic year 2025-2026 academic year, schools reopened on the 8th of September. And by that time, if you had well-managed education departments, on the very first day of school for the academic year 2025-2026, at least 95% of school supplies, which would be include textbooks, exercise books, juice, biscuit, and all the other supplies for her teachers and teachers should have been in the system. But let this program say to you exactly that in the first week, and not even the first week, last week and this week, schools in Region 2 were still receiving school supplies, exercise books, textbooks, juice, biscuits. Now, our head teachers and teachers are asking the question, so many weeks would have passed. How is it they are going to be able to distribute, to cost account properly for especially the juice and the biscuit? Don't worry the scenarios. That is public knowledge. What were our learners writing in as it relates to exercise books? Is it that you say free education, providing exercise books and textbooks, yet 1 month would have passed and the learners of this region, Region 2, were in schools without exercise books? That is an indictment on the part of the regional education officer, Region 2, mismanaging education in this region. You do not manage education from the confines of a, what you call it, ventilated, what you call this thing, man, air-conditioned office. you manage education by being in the fields and in the schools with our teachers and our head teachers and our learners and meeting parents, establishing those contacts and relationships. And so even though your school supplies would have been late, because of your relationship, you could go to them, your head teachers, your teachers, and your parents, and explain none of those things that I said there, because they don't have relationship with the major stakeholders. They have not gone out there. The REDO has never presented herself to any PTA meeting. You ask the REDO when you have branch meetings of the union, the Guyana Teachers Union, to be present and to say something. The REDO always sends an officer. Is she suffering from inferiority complex? Or does she know her inability not to perform? But our learners, as it relates to juice and biscuits, continue to suffer. Our learners and teachers continue to suffer because of other school supplies, textbooks, exercise books, support materials for the teaching and learning situation. Taxpayers are made, or the REDO should be made to account to taxpayers of this region. And again, this program wants to repeat, this program is not bashing the REDO or the Department of Education. This program is bringing the facts. And this program can facilitate the chief education officer, any of the senior education officers, the DCOs, ACOs, and I'm coming to two of the DCOs just now, two of the powerful ones, facilitate them on this program. They wouldn't come, but this program can go to them. Let them make the request. And I would represent this program with them. And let us talk education. Let us talk the system at the regional level and at the national level. Let us talk about the units of the Ministry of Education. I am ready to battle with them. And so the situation, sometimes you have to call the name of schools. Earlier this year, the Aurora Secondary School dorms started rehabilitation works. And it was indicated that these works would have been completed in 2 months. And the 2 months would have taken them to June, July. As we speak at this time, the work is still not complete. The answer, when asked the question, the answer would have been, because it was not planned as to what are the works to be done, as they go, they work, and as they see fit, they do. They do not know when the work would be concluded. This is a way, as it is, Auditor General, I'm calling out the Office of the Auditor General. to audit the work that is being done at the Aurora Secondary School dorms without any plan of action, without any design, without any costs. As they go, they are paid. This is breach of the Procurement Act. An Auditor General, your office needs to look at this. But what is happening there? The learners that were in that dorms would have been sent to the various regions where they came from to go to some school. Region 7, Region 1, some in Region 3. And so one term would have concluded, rather the academic year, the parents are asking the question, how is it? What is it that would be marked on their report cards? Because they were not at school in the final term of the academic year. The other questions that are being asked, that monies would have been appropriated under line item 6292, dietary. And so that would have been appropriated there for the rest of the year. And the question is, where is that money for the past couple of months? Are the suppliers being paid without supplying items? The head teacher of that school and the regional education officer, Rio Region 2, if you are listening to this program, or if you were told that you have somebody to listen to this program is saying to you, you should get involved in investigating. Because finally you have to sign for the purchase of goods and services. And you must ask questions. If the dorms are not operating, then maybe money is being spent under a line item 6292, and the head teacher and the redo, if items are being purchased or not supplied but paid for, they should be made to account. This is serious business. It's taxpayers' money. And the parents are concerned. Let me say that to Redo. The parents of that school, the teachers are concerned. And the teachers and parents are saying when they ask their teacher, all you see is smile and no answer. Well, he was one of them that was appointed administratively. He was appointed administratively. Like the one at Queenstown Primary, administrative appointment, and the head teacher and the deputy head teacher at Abramsville Secondary, administrative appointments. But I'm coming to a circular later on here. So we spoke about the issue of Aurora Secondary School. And so, as part of the program of the Ministry of Education, mathematics intervention, 8 seniors, a head of department from a senior secondary school in Georgetown would have been assigned the task of coordinating the mathematics program. Last week, there was serious confusion in the Ministry of Education, where a deputy chief education officer, and let me give you a background to the deputy chief. That deputy chief education officer was on the cadet course. This program would have been reliably informed that in the first instance, the deputy chief education officer was not shortlisted or selected. I can talk about cadet course because I was among the first batch of cadets in this country. I was among the first batch of cadets in this country. So you can't fool me about cadetship. But this deputy chief education officer was not selected. But through the backdoor political means and his connection therein, he was on the cadet course. This program was reliably informed that the performance of this cadet, who is now a deputy chief education officer, his performance was miserable. Further, this program says nothing. But this same DCO would have informed, advised, instructed, and sarcastically advised the person from a senior secondary school in Georgetown who would have been placed there to, and this is not holding brief for anybody, the person that would have been seconded there. No, this program doesn't hold brief for anybody. We tell you the truth and the situation at Central Ministry. Would have been bluntly told by this DCO tech that he should go back to the school, his place in the classroom. And if any doubt, we have the document before us. This program has the document to verify what this program is saying. That his place is in the classroom. And so this person, this DCO, is wielding a lot of power in the Ministry of Education, CEO. If you don't want your system to fail further, take a grip of that DCO and the other DCO that is going about the regions of this country, going to head teachers and trying to do staffing. You know the DCO, the matter went to you as CEO. You try to quiet it. And that same DCO that I'm talking about, now retired, but you all put the DCO back there. Is wielding a lot of power. Education delivery is not about power. It is about relationship with people. It is about relationship with stakeholders. It is about relationship with our head teachers, and our parents, and even the learners. And not wielding power, as these two DCOs are doing. So there was a lot of insult to the teacher. And based on some comments that this program would not wish to read, but to make in passing that there is need for somebody to have this person have a grip on them. You know, our teachers are placed in serious, or head teachers. At a particular region, the Redo would have recommended a person to be a teacher of a school. And this Redo was bold enough to send to the head teacher of that school for the head teacher to make that recommendation. And the head teacher, it is or her right, did not comply with that illegal instruction. And all sorts of things are being said about the head teacher in this case. The head teacher had to say, this is instruction, that this person was working at the school for years, and that is not the truth. How do you put a head teacher as a Redo in that kind of situation? It is not good instruction, and therefore the head teacher did not recommend the person was in good standing. Transfer of teachers, another point. By memo dated the 28th of September 2025, I don't know, this program continues to tell the CEO that somebody should teach him how to write memos. The CEO of this country is writing a memo and is concluding the memo in the letter form. Yours respectfully, I can read his name because it's printed here, Saddam Hussein, Chief Education Officer. You already said from the Chief Education Officer, CEO, when you are writing a memo and you have that 4 elements at the top there, from, to, subject, and date, and the content therein, immediately after the conclusion of the content, you sign your name without your office. And all your officers, including your Redos, are doing the same thing. Maybe they are following your pattern, or if they are not following your pattern, they are as dense as you are in terms of communication. And this thing is saying transfer of senior teachers. You know what it said? Is that the CEO would have given the Teacher Service Commission and the school board to process all transfers. I'm going to tell you why it's coming here. For senior teachers during the period Monday 29th to Friday 3rd of October. The period would have gone. You know what they would have done there? They would have transferred senior persons to particular schools into particular positions. And now the Teaching Service Commission and the School Board Secretariat, they are made to make these transfers, and these vacancies are going to be filled. We are not seen as far as the same. So when these vacancies are filled with their persons of their choice and of their thinking, when the time would have come to prepare that list of senior vacancies, while it might not be many therein, because these vacancies would have been in terms of this instruction at appointments or transfer being made by the Teaching Service Commission and the School Board Secretariat. And on the other hand, administrative appointments, they would have had their full complements of those who they want to manage the schools in this country. This is what the CEO wrote. Coming down to a most amazing situation. Again, when you go, it's a 3-page document. This is for your information and immediate action. Now, when you don't memo, you don't put that, man. CEO, you don't sign your name again here. You're wasting time. Somebody needs to teach you. You and all your officers. Maybe I can be contracted to do the consultancy at the Ministry of Education. The subject, application for entry to CPC, right, or the Sierra Potter College of Education, CPC. Based on this information or document that this program has before it, that there are no criteria for entry into teachers training college. Because this circular clearly states, or this memo, and for purposes of not misleading the public, we are going to read the first paragraph. The Ministry of Education hereby advises all untrained teachers in the public and private schools, as well as suitable qualified, where qualified come from, members of the public, to apply for training at CPC to become trained teachers. The ministry further reiterates that all untrained public school teachers are required to register for and attend CPC without delay. Registration would close on 10th October 2025. Classes for Year 1 trainees will begin on 13th. 2 days ago they started, without any qualification. Without any, that is what CPC has become. Entry without any qualifications. And they are going to upgrade them for 1 year. Regardless, you have one subject, CSEC, no subject. You didn't go to school, but somebody placed you in a... Mind you, don't be surprised that you see some of these 10-day a month workers attending training college, because the circular sets out a number of things here as to the different programs, 10 programs. And this here is a serious indictment on the education system. Serious indictment. We are already having persons based on what head teachers are saying going into the education system as trained teachers and cannot function. Serious indictment. This program would continue to follow from that. Some general issues. We have about 50 minutes for. General issue number 1. And this is calling out right off the bat, so to speak. The Office of the Auditor General. That in Region 2, that the NDIA vehicles, which are state vehicles, the people's vehicles, taxpayers' vehicles, are serviced at a mechanical workshop privately owned. Once you are in Region 2, there is a mechanical workshop at the level of the regional administration. When I was a regional executive officer, those vehicles were serviced at the regional mechanical workshop. Once upon a time, I also served as principal of the Escobar Technical Institute. And there would have been negotiations with the regional administration to have state vehicles, government vehicles, taxpayers' vehicles, the people's vehicles, go to the Escobar Technical Institute to be serviced. And so this is an indictment. And there was a question asked by someone to the driver. And the answer would have been given that you make money out of a private workshop. If you take it to government workshop, you can't make that. Auditor General, the Office of the Auditor General, this is an indictment. This is an indictment. This program would continue to say this about this illegal and unauthorized mechanical workshop, and very many operating in residential area, causing noise, dust, and chemical pollution. And despite the fact this was brought to the attention of the Environmental Protection Agency, the Ministry of Labor, the GRA, the NIS, Guyana Fire Service, GPL, these persons who are employed in these agencies just called are paid by taxpayers of this money, this country. They are paid by state money. And because they believe they are doing their own work, they are not attending to these matters. So EPA is a waste of time. They are working there collecting taxpayers' money. GPL, what you call the cost recovery, whatever you call it there, that unit is a money-making unit. They settle matters assumedly on the work when they go to investigate. The Ministry of Labor, what you call the Occupational Safety and Health Department, when they go, all they need is a little refreshment and the matter is closed. The Guyana Fire Service, all they can do in Region 2 is to put up flags to the PPP, and all they can do is to wash the tarmac at Anna Regina for purposes best known to the private sector. NIS and GRA, Commissioner General GRA, General Manager NIS, you are the agencies that are responsible for ensuring that things happen the correct way. This program is again bringing these things to your attention. Weeding and cleaning of school compounds and government compounds. This program would have been reliably informed that in some cases there is no weeding and cleaning to be done in school compounds because of how it is being concreted and what have you. But yet submissions are made, claims are made, payments are made, and this here is cause for Auditor General. Weeding and cleaning of trenches and canals. It is an ongoing thing. You have it, take it. Go. Share down these trenches and canals. Share them out and give to people, contractors, including those at the regional administration, the account section, the engineering section, all of them and their families. They have trenches and canals cleaning. But this is the thing, is that there is manual labor that is won by the RDC. The NDC would clean these trenches and canals. The water users would clean these trenches and canals, same, and the NDIA. So you have 4 or 5 agencies paying to clean the same trench or canal. If this is not cause for the Auditor General to investigate, then the Auditor General Office is very selective in things that the office is auditing. And therefore, this program is bringing these things to the attention of the public so that the Office of the Auditor General would become very, very proactive in its work. Now, there are a number of issues that we want to, this program would wish to deal with on health issues, but we leave this for the next program. And because we leave it for the next program, we are going to do some additional issues, repeating what this program would have said some time ago and would be saying it continuously, that there is discrepancies, or there are discrepancies rather, in the distribution of old age pension books. This is a time when these books are being distributed. And the law clearly says who are the persons to receive, how long you have to be resident in this country. And I'm calling out the Minister of Social Services, or whatever the ministry names, and all the officers of that ministry who are responsible for the preparation and distribution of old age pension books. Persons residing overseas and are not entitled to receive old age pension books are so advised by these persons that are working in these offices when to travel to Guyana to collect these books, and they go to special persons, collect these books. Minister, Office of the Auditor General, there is need for an investigation, and if by any extension, these officers that are held culpable for these infractions must be made to properly account. If this is not done, this system of unfairness in the distribution and payment of old age pension would continue. Viewers, I think we have a few minutes, but because we do not want to touch on the health issues, which are about 6 issues, we would wish to say thank you. Continue to send in on this program the issues that are affecting you, and this program would be willing to express those views on your behalf. We want to thank you very much Good night, and may God bless you.